Hey, this is Luther, and you're watching 101.9 KINK Radio in the Skype Live studio.
Luther Dickinson.
What's up, brother?
Oh, man. The Church of Luther, right? That's the good stuff. And visiting us on Muddy Waters' birthday. What could be even more fitting than that, right?
Man, I'm a Rolling Stone.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Now, when you talk about that, when you drop names like Junior Kimbrough and we were talking about Othar, were you brought into that? Did you have to escape into that juke joint scene, or did your dad introduce you to that, or was he even a part of that at the beginning?
Well, so my parents were Memphians. My father was a musician, grew up in Memphis in the 50s, a musician his whole life, And I was born in rural Tennessee, east of town. But right about the time I was about 12, we moved to North Mississippi for the school system. Cody wanted to go to public school, my brother. And so we found Hernando, Mississippi, which is a great place. And there's a really good school system there, comparatively speaking. And I didn't want to go to public school. That wasn't happening. But, private school. And Dad, he wasn't going back to Memphis. So anyway, we moved to North Mississippi and grew up down there. And, to me, blues was my father's thing. My dad and his friends, they grew up around the Bohemians in Memphis, the pre-hippies, the Bohemians, the folk guys. These are rock and rollers who then turned into folk musicians. And then Furry Lewis, Reverend Robert Wilkins, Bucka White, Sleepy John Estes, Fred McDowell, all the blues greats were rediscovered, and the Bohemian white kids and the blues masters rediscovered collided, and they'd have these Memphis Country Blues Festivals every year. And that's what we call the World Boogie, that scenario when those two cultures collided, and they just embraced each other. They loved each other, and that's what we're a product of. So I knew that story, and I learned the repertoire and the music from my dad and his friends, but it was their music, When I was 12, I found Black Flag, and that was like my music, I'm like, and that was awesome, man, because Dad, he was like, what is this? I can't believe you found something I don't dig. But he eventually did dig it, but that's another story. But so we didn't, to me, I wasn't a fan of contemporary blues at the time. But then, in the mid-'90s, because of Fat Possum Records, even though it was in my backyard, I knew Kenny Brown. It was right there. I knew Othar Turner and his family from the Memphis festival circuit. But that was fife and drum music. It wasn't like guitar music. And I knew Kenny Brown as a family friend, but I'd never seen Kenny Brown play. And then I saw R.L. Burnside. And then Othar took me to Junior Kimbrough's juke joint. And I got the Fat Possum Records. And, and this is early, mid-'90s, And even though I was living right there, it blew my mind that right in my backyard was electrified, modern-day, multi-generational country blues right there. And it's funny because, they say that the art represents the culture, and like Hill Country Blues is so hypnotic, Well, it's no like secret musical formula. There's a lot of the culture that this music sprung forth might have just been that corn liquor. Because every party or nightclub or juke joint you went to, they were selling. There's a lot of bootlegging going on. There's music and bootlegging. It's like Charlie Musselwhite says, sometimes being a musician, you might need a sideline.
Yeah, I remember back in it was mid-'90s, early '90s, when I got turned on to it by a documentary by the name of Deep Blues,
right,
that Dave Stewart had done. And, of course, that's Kimbrough in there. And that was R.L. Burnside sitting out in his front porch doing the same thing. And here's a man that couldn't get a job until, it was rediscovered again. And like you said, Kenny, you're dropping Kenny's name. I absolutely love the man's music. Yeah. Have you done a project with him that just went by me without knowing?
No, that's got to be up and coming, man. I love Kenny Brown so much. He is the man. And right now, he is the elder of North Mississippi. Kenny Brown is a young white guy who grew up in Nesbitt, Mississippi, and he grew up around all the Mississippi blues, and he just lived it. And he played on every early Fat Possum record.
And alongside R.L. Burnside for about 22 years. And if you've ever seen Black Snake Moan, he's the guy in the juke joint where they're playing, and Samuel L. Jackson gets up and sings. That's Kenny on guitar.
Yeah, in that particular scene, that guitar that Samuel Jackson's playing, I recorded it. Oh, cool. That's my guitar that he's mimicking.
Oh, really? Is air guitar in your stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
See, we learn something each and every day. That's fantastic. All right, I see two Gibsons.
Hey, can we? Is this a censored thing, or can we speak freely?
Just go ahead, brother. We got editing equipment.
Y'all want to hear my Samuel Jackson story? Yeah. So we're there with, I'm not a good storyteller, but I just love running my mouth. But we're there with Craig Brewer, who makes all these films, and Samuel Jackson at lunch, And we're recording the music, and Samuel's checking it out because he's going to have to play. I'm supposed to play appropriately for Samuel to mimic, and I didn't do a very good job. They just cut my solo out. But anyway, we're talking at lunch. They're talking about all of their films that there have been X-rated versions of, Pulp Friction, or whatever. Da 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 da. I don't remember them all. I can't remember them all, but I remember Pulp Friction. But I just remember Samuel Jackson was like, "Well, look, if anybody ever needs a dick double, just holler at a brother." I was like, "All right, Samuel, you can lay it down."
That's worth it right there.
It's like my dad said about Bob Dylan. It's like lots of things in life disappoint, but Bob Dylan doesn't. And Samuel Jackson falls in that category either. That's a cool mother, man.
Oh, man.
That's a bad, right? Just like the wallet said.
That's good stuff. All right, now I got to ask. You got the Gibsons out here, but the Folger. Oh, yeah. The coffee can.
Yeah. It took a fall. Let's see
how cool is that?
That's good.
Oh, man, that's odd. Is this handmade by you?
No, I made a diddly bow when I was a kid. And the one I made, the coffee can, was kind of up top. The coffee can is the resonator. Lots of fools run around with cigar boxes, and they're all right. But the coffee can actually has a tone. And I just love it. I got a couple of fret markers up here. I love this thing. I write a lot on this thing. 2 strings is more inspiring than 6.
There you go, my friend. Can we talk quickly about the new album, too? Sure. As a fan, I love it, and thank you very much for redoing. Why did you, as an artist, feel a need to redo some of the stuff that you already had?
Well, the inspiration for this project called Blues and Ballads is I wanted to make, I love songbooks. I collect songbooks. I grew up, my grandmother was playing piano in church, and I was looking at the hymnals, trying to figure it all out, make it all. And then I collect songbooks, folk song. Grew up pre-internet. I learned a lot of what I know about music and repertoire from the library. I love songbooks. I've spent many dollars at Powell's buying old songbooks. I love songbooks, and I wanted to make one of my own. And you can call it a vanity project or whatever, but somebody had to do it. So
as a fan, I absolutely love it, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
So I paid a friend of mine to transcribe the tunes, and they look a lot fancier than they sound. I told him for saying thanks for putting all those. I told him thanks for writing all those notes in there. I meant to sing.
Now, Chris and Cody doing well?
What?
Chris and Cody are doing well?
Well, Chris, he left our band about, 3 going on 4 years ago.
Has it been that long now?
He's a bus driver. He had health problems, but he's doing really good. He's happily married. He's got his health and his diabetes together. And we played together last year with The Word. That was really fun.
Yeah, I saw. Well, that's why I kind of thought that, because I saw the new one from The Word came out, which is pretty much the North Mississippi All-Stars with Robert Randolph and John Medeski. And we had Chris Wood in here not too long ago. Who else? Yeah. Oh, of course, Black Crows, whatever. We had Steve from Trigger Hippie playing drums in here. He was here. We've had Rich here. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, Chris.
Can't we all just get along?
I know, right? What kind of story was that? Anyway, we don't even need to do that. Once again, thank you for a lifetime of great music to play on the Blues Show, brother. Man, and I know that these guys don't know it, but before I was a Pringle at the age of 7, I was a Dickinson as well. So this is my brother from another mother right there. I appreciate it. Guys, give it up. Luther Dickinson.
Thank you.